Nathaniel Cross was not supposed to be awake that late. The lights in his small lunar apartment were dim, the only glow coming from the screen of his work tablet. The city dome outside was silent, a faint hum of air filters and transport drones breaking the stillness. It was 0237 Lunar Standard Time, the hour when even the restless minds of scientists gave up on thinking. But Nathaniel could not sleep. He had spent weeks studying encrypted alien transmissions from the Galactic Collective, short bursts of strange data that the Terran Cultural Embassy wanted decoded. Usually the signals meant nothing, static numbers or looping alien trade jargon. Yet tonight something unusual appeared on his monitor. A private file blinked with a strange title, Watch Before Deleted. Nathaniel frowned. It wasn't from the embassy's network. It wasn't even tagged as human-made. The sender's ID was blank, a string of symbols he didn't recognize. His instincts told him to report it immediately, but curiosity was a stronger force than protocol. He tapped the file. The screen turned black for a moment. Then an image appeared, grainy, flickering like an old video feed. It showed his own apartment door from the hallway outside. The timestamp read Euroso 12 local time. He froze. The video was recorded just 2 hours ago. He leaned forward, heart thumping. The camera angle didn't make sense. There were no cameras outside his door. None he had installed anyway. A soft knock echoed through the silence. Nathaniel jumped. The knock came from his real door, not the video. He turned slowly toward it, his breath catching in his throat. Another knock, calm, deliberate. He stood up, unsure what to do. Was this a prank? A security check? No one visited him at this hour. His neighbors were either asleep or off duty on the night shift. His hand hesitated on the doorpad. Who is it? He asked, voice unsteady. No answer. He unlocked the door anyway. It slid open with a quiet hiss, and there she was. A woman stood in the hallway, dressed in a long gray coat that shimmered slightly under the corridor lights. Her eyes were calm, her expression unreadable. She looked completely human, but something about her posture, her stillness, was off, like a picture trying too hard to move naturally. She smiled. Hello, Nathaniel. He froze again. Do I know you? Not yet, she said softly, and stepped inside as if she owned the place. Nathaniel took a step back, confused but strangely not afraid. There was a quiet authority in her presence, not threatening, just certain. She closed the door behind her and looked around the room with mild curiosity, as if inspecting something old and forgotten. How did you get in? He asked. You opened the door, she replied simply. That's not what I meant. How do you know my name? She turned toward him then, her eyes catching the light. And for a brief moment they shimmered with tiny lines of code, as if streams of data were flowing through her pupils. Nathaniel's pulse quickened. You're not human, are you? The woman smiled again, this time with a strange warmth. Humanity is a word, I am. Something you forgot. She reached up and touched her own chest, and as she did, the air shimmered around her. Layers of her appearance, when skin, clothing, even the shadow she cast began to flicker and dissolve. Not like holographic distortion, not like camouflage. It was deeper, more natural, like she was peeling away false versions of herself. Nathaniel staggered back. What are you doing? Dropping layers, she said calmly. You hide behind them. So did we. When the light settled, she stood in her true form. Her skin was translucent, her hair a soft field of light that shifted like water. Beneath the surface, thin streams of symbols flowed, alien text rotating in silent rhythm. Her eyes, once brown, now glowed with soft silver light. Nathaniel felt both awe and disbelief. You're impossible. Your species, no one remembers us, she finished gently. That was the point. She looked at him again, and for a moment he saw sadness in her expression. My name is Lyra. I was made to forget you too. But I found the cracks. Nathaniel swallowed hard. The cracks? In the code. In history. In what they erased. She moved closer, the light from her body faint but steady. You think the Galactic Collective discovered you? They didn't. You were woken up, he blinked. Woken up? From what? From silence, Lyra said. From the deep sleep they put you in after the first contact. Nathaniel stared at her, mind spinning. You're saying humanity met aliens before the collective? Yes, she said simply. And you terrified them. He shook his head. That's impossible. We were barely out of our solar system when Lyra raised her hand, and a series of glowing symbols projected into the air, fragmented records, star charts and mission logs marked with the old United Earth insignia. Some of them were centuries old, others were dated decades into the future. I shouldn't show you this, she said, her tone quiet but firm, but you need to understand what they've done. Nathaniel studied the floating data. This is human code, but it's mixed with something else. Mine, she said. My kind was the bridge. We guided the collective. We helped them rewrite your story. Nathaniel felt the room closing in, his thoughts racing faster than he could control. Why hide this? Lyra looked toward the window, the glass showing only the quiet lunar skyline. Because they feared what you could become. You learn too fast. You adapt too well. Empathy, aggression, logic. You mix them like no other species can. You were supposed to be contained. She turned back to him, her glowing eyes steady. But the containment is failing, and they blame me. Nathaniel took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. Why come to me? Because you listen, Lyra said. You look for meaning in noise. You were already close to finding the signal. He remembered the encrypted transmissions, the strange data that kept looping without sense. That was you? Lyra nodded. A part of me. A message wrapped in static. I didn't think it would reach anyone before they deleted it. And the file name, watch before deleted, a warning, she said quietly. They're watching this planet, this city, every breath you take. But they don't understand curiosity. They can't stop you from opening a door. Nathaniel stepped back to his desk and looked at the still open screen. The video feed was gone now, replaced by a flashing red line. Signal lost. He turned to Lyra. If they find you here, they already have. She interrupted softly. A low hum filled the air, not from the room but from outside. Through the window, Nathaniel saw distant lights moving across the lunar horizon, bright and sharp, like search drones scanning for something invisible. Lyra didn't move. You still have a choice, she said. You can forget you saw me, or you can remember it and change everything. Nathaniel hesitated. Why me? I'm just a linguist. Lyra tilted her head, her voice almost kind. Because language shapes truth. And truth is the one thing they can't control forever. The lights outside grew brighter. The hum deepened into a low roar. Nathaniel felt a strange calm wash over him, the same calm he saw in her. What happens if I choose to remember? He asked quietly. Lyra smiled, the faintest spark of light flickering in her silver eyes. Then the story begins. The roar outside suddenly stopped. Silence. The window darkened again. The air felt heavy, charged with unseen energy. Nathaniel turned toward her, but she was gone. Only a faint shimmer of light remained in the air, slowly fading into nothing. He stood there for a long moment, breathing hard, unsure if anything had truly happened. On his screen, a new message appeared. No sender, no timestamp. Just 4 words, do not close this. He reached for the tablet and paused, because in the reflection of the screen, behind his own image, a pair of glowing silver eyes were watching him. The tablet's screen glowed in Nathaniel's hands, the words, "Do not close this," still flashing. He stared at them, heart racing. Slowly, a soft hum began to rise from the device, almost like it had a pulse. Symbols he didn't recognize swirled across the screen, forming patterns that felt familiar yet completely alien. Nathaniel leaned closer, trying to make sense of it. As he touched the screen, the symbols shifted and dissolved into a series of holographic images. They showed star systems, ancient ships, and strange landscapes. Among the stars he could see human vessels, but these were not the ships of the modern Terran fleet. They were old, angular, and moving in formations he had only read about in lost historical records. A voice echoed in his mind. Not through the speakers, but inside his head. Nathaniel Cross, you found the signal. Do you understand what it means? He froze. The voice was calm, confident, yet not human. His mouth opened, but no words came. The voice continued. You are meant to see this. You are meant to remember. Nathaniel blinked, and suddenly the images changed. He saw humans on distant planets, not explorers, but researchers, diplomats, soldiers, all working alongside beings he didn't recognize. They moved with purpose, communicating through gestures and light. Their faces were familiar, yet alien code flowed just beneath the surface of their skin. And then he saw it. A massive archive station orbiting a distant planet. Its design was unlike anything he had seen, a mix of human engineering and impossible geometry. Stars bent around it as if the station itself warped space. The station pulsed, sending signals outward. The voice spoke again. "This is the memory of your species." The truth the collective tried to erase. Humanity was not passive. Humanity shaped history before anyone knew it. Nathaniel shook his head, trying to comprehend. "No, this can't be real. We didn't have the technology to do what they feared you could," the voice said. "Yes, you did." Suddenly, Lyra appeared in the room again, shimmering in her true form. "It is real," she said softly. "And they are coming." Nathaniel turned to her. "Coming? Who?" "The collective." Lyra's gaze moved toward the window, her glowing eyes scanning the lunar horizon. "Yes, they have always been watching. But now they know you are awake. They cannot allow the truth to spread." Nathaniel's mind raced. "Spread how?" "I'm just a linguist." You're more than you think," Lyra interrupted. "Humanity's greatest strength is not weapons or ships. It is thought. It is imagination. It is connection. They underestimated it. That is why you terrify them." The hum outside grew louder again. Through the window, Nathaniel saw distant lights moving faster than any known drone. They swirled across the lunar landscape, searching, scanning, probing. "They're close," he whispered. Lyra nodded. "We do not have much time. I cannot fight them alone. You must help me." Nathaniel's first instinct was fear. He had no weapons, no training, nothing to face an alien fleet. But something in Lyra's calm, unwavering presence made him pause. She wasn't asking, she was telling him how. He asked finally. "What do you want me to do?" Lyra extended her hand. A small device floated from her palm, spinning in the air. It was sleek, minimal, and completely alien. Nathaniel reached out and touched it. The moment he did, a surge of images and data filled his mind. It was like reading a library in seconds. Star charts, codes, histories, simulations. "This is a fragment of the human archive," Lyra explained. "It contains knowledge the collective tried to erase. Only a human mind can understand and complete it." Nathaniel staggered backward, overwhelmed. "Complete it? I don't know if I can." Lyra stepped closer. "You already can. The signal chose you because you were ready. Humanity adapts. Humanity survives. Remember that. You have inherited more than you know." Nathaniel looked at her glowing figure. Something deep in him shifted. Fear was still there, but it was mixed with curiosity, awe, and determination. "Okay," he said finally. "Tell me what I need to do." Lyra smiled faintly, and the symbols on the tablet brightened. "First, you must understand. The collective is not invincible. They rewrite history because they fear memory. But memory is alive and in thoughts and minds and stories. Humanity's memory is stronger than any algorithm, stronger than any fleet." Nathaniel nodded, trying to steady himself. "So, I need to wake people up." "Show them the truth." "Yes," Lyra said. "But carefully. If they detect it too soon, they will erase it again." Nathaniel stared at the screen. The device in his hands pulsed softly, as if alive. Then he realized it was not just a tool. It responded to thought. When he imagined a place or a name, the device projected it instantly. Maps, records, hidden archives, all could be accessed, understood, and shared. Lyra spoke again. "You will need courage, Nathaniel. Not the courage of weapons, but of conviction. You must believe in humanity when no one else does. Only then can the signal spread." He swallowed hard. "And if I fail?" She tilted her head, silver eyes glowing. "Then we lose the chance. But humans almost never fail when they refuse to." Outside, the lights of the collective's drones were getting closer. Nathaniel felt the hum of their engines in his chest, vibrating through the floor. Time was short. He turned to the tablet, letting his mind focus on the images and data. Slowly, the patterns began to make sense. Symbols aligned, codes merged. And for the first time, he felt he could read the hidden message. This is incredible," he whispered. "It's like everything we thought we knew was only half the story." "We've been blind, yes," Lyra said, her voice calm. "Blind, but not forever. Humanity remembers what is necessary, and now you will help us remember the rest." Nathaniel's fingers moved over the tablet, manipulating data, uncovering hidden files. He saw records of lost expeditions, of humans interacting with alien species long before Earth had official contact. They had built alliances, learned languages, solved conflicts, and even stopped wars, all erased from history. A realization hit him. They weren't afraid of us because we were weak, he said slowly. They were afraid because we could change things they couldn't control. Lyra nodded. Exactly. You are not just humans. You are an anomaly. The collective tried to erase that, but they underestimated your resilience, your creativity, your spirit. Nathaniel felt a surge of pride, a strange warmth spreading through him. For the first time in his life, he understood the weight of human potential, and he understood why Lyra had chosen him. The hum outside suddenly became louder, a warning. The drones had noticed something. Their lights swept across the lunar surface like searching eyes. Nathaniel's hands trembled, but he did not stop. We don't have much time, Lyra said. They will breach the city dome soon. You must finish preparing the archive. Nathaniel nodded, focusing on the task. He worked quickly, guided by intuition and Lyra's silent presence. Images, symbols, and histories flowed from the device into his mind. He memorized, decoded, and reconstructed. Every fragment of erased history became clear. Every lost moment of humanity's greatness shone brightly in his mind. Outside, the drones hovered near the dome, scanning every sector. The hum turned into a soft vibration in the floor. Nathaniel could feel the pressure of time, but he also felt a strange calm. Lyra's light was steady, reassuring. Almost there, she whispered. Finally, after what felt like hours but was only minutes, Nathaniel reached the final fragment. The archive was complete, a living record of human history, potential, and resilience. A single command and it could spread to every connected mind on Earth. He looked at Lyra, who nodded once. Do it, she said. Nathaniel took a deep breath and pressed the command. The device pulsed brightly. Data streamed outward, invisible to the collective, entering every human system, neural network, and terminal. Across cities, planets, and colonies, humans began to awaken, seeing the truth for the first time. And in that moment, Nathaniel realized something profound. The story of humanity had not been erased. It had only been waiting for the right moment, for the right mind to remember. Lyra's light flickered. They will come for us, she said. But we are ready now. Humanity is awake. Nathaniel nodded, awe mixing with determination. Then let them come. We will not be erased again. Outside, the drone's light swirled, scanning, searching, but for the first time, humanity was no longer blind, no longer silent, no longer afraid, and the story, their story, was just beginning. The light faded from the tablet, leaving only silence. For a long moment, Nathaniel stood still, watching the last flickers of data vanish into the network. The archive was gone from his device, but not lost. It had already spread, carried by signals, thoughts, and memories, across every system connected to humanity. Lyra stood beside him, glowing softly in the dim room. Her form flickered now and then, as if she were struggling to stay anchored. It is done, she said quietly. The archive is alive again. Nathaniel turned to her. Then why do you look worried? Lyra's expression was calm but serious. Because the collective knows. They have detected the breach. They will come in full force to stop it. They fear what you have set free. Outside, the hum of the drones turned into a low, thunder-like rumble. The sky above Luna's dome flashed with distant light. Nathaniel could see shadows moving, large ships entering the upper atmosphere. They looked like dark clouds made of glass and fire. They're already here, he whispered. Lyra nodded. They will try to isolate Earth, cut off your systems. But it's too late and the signal is inside you now. Nathaniel frowned. Inside me? Yes, she said. The archive does not need machines to survive. It lives in human thought, in memory, in emotion. They can destroy hardware, but not what makes you human. He looked at her glowing eyes and saw something deeper. Pride, maybe even affection. Then we fight, he said simply. Lyra tilted her head, curious. Fight? You cannot match their weapons. Nathaniel smiled faintly. No, but we can outthink them. Hours later, chaos had reached the lunar colony. The collective's ships hovered above the dome, projecting beams of light that shut down power grids and communication lines. The citizens panicked, hiding in shelters, unsure what was happening. To them, it looked like a disaster. To Nathaniel, it was the beginning. He moved through the corridors quickly, carrying only the small alien device Lyra had given him. Behind him, Lyra followed, her light dimmed to avoid detection. "Where are we going?" she asked. "The control center," Nathaniel said. "If we can reach the central relay, we can amplify the archive signal. Make sure no one can ever delete it again." Lyra nodded. "Then hurry. Their scouts are already inside." They reached the main access chamber, a wide circular room filled with screens, terminals, and power conduits. The guards were gone, probably hiding like everyone else. Nathaniel went straight to the primary console and began connecting the device. The screen came alive, flickering between human code and alien symbols. Lyra stepped beside him, watching the streams of data dance across the air. "They are trying to lock you out," she said. "You must think faster than them." "I'm trying," Nathaniel said, fingers moving rapidly. He could feel the system resisting, fighting back. For every line of code he wrote, another appeared to block it. The collective's AI was powerful, but predictable. It followed logic. Humans did not. He smiled to himself. "You rely on patterns," he muttered, typing faster. "Let's see how you handle chaos." He entered a random sequence of symbols mixed with emotional triggers, words that had no logical meaning but carried deep human context. Hope, memory, defiance, love. The AI hesitated for a moment, unable to process the irrational input. Nathaniel used that pause to break through the firewall. The system opened. "We're in," he said. Lyra placed her glowing hand on the console. "Then it's time." The lights dimmed, and for a moment everything was silent. Then the archive began to pulse, not as data but as light. Streams of luminous energy spread across the base, through the network, into every human device, every implant, every mind. In cities on Earth, people began to dream of places they had never seen, ancient worlds, old wars, friendships with alien species long forgotten. They felt emotions they couldn't explain. Pride, loss, unity. The archive was awakening in all of them. The collective noticed the surge immediately. Their ships tried to jam the signal to block the transmission, but every attempt failed. The signal didn't travel like normal data. It moved through thought, through meaning itself. It was everywhere and nowhere to target. On Luna, Nathaniel felt his mind fill with memories not his own. Explorers stepping on alien soil. Scientists sharing ideas with beings of light. Soldiers refusing to surrender even when surrounded. He saw humanity's history, not as victims or colonists, but as builders and dreamers. Lyra's voice was soft beside him. "Do you see it now?" Nathaniel nodded, tears in his eyes. "Yes, we were never small. We were never weak," Lyra smiled. "No, you were always infinite." The collective's ships opened fire. Bolts of blue light hit the dome, shaking the city. Glass panels cracked, alarms blared, and gravity trembled for a moment. People screamed and ran. But Nathaniel didn't move. He stared at the main screen where the archive signal continued to spread. Faster, brighter, unstoppable. Lyra raised her hand. Energy rippled around her, forming a shield that blocked the worst of the shockwaves. "I cannot hold this forever," she warned. "You don't have to," Nathaniel said. "The signal's doing the work now." Indeed, something was happening to the collective ships above. Their lights flickered. Their formations broke. Some ships turned away as if confused. Others began to fire at their own allies. The signal was affecting them too, not directly, but through the human systems they had linked into. Lyra's eyes widened. "You are rewriting their control code." Nathaniel grinned. "No, when we are. The signal is teaching them empathy, showing them what it means to feel. They can't process it. It's breaking their unity." The sky exploded with light as two of the ships collided, scattering debris like sparks. One by one, the remaining vessels turned and fled into orbit, retreating from the chaos. Inside the base, the noise faded. The alarms went silent. The hum of the power grid slowly returned. People stepped out from their shelters, looking up at the sky in disbelief. The invasion was over. Nathaniel collapsed against the console, breathing hard. Lyra knelt beside him, her form flickering badly now. "You did it," she said softly. "Humanity is free." He looked up at her, exhausted but smiling. "We did it." Her expression turned sad. "No, Nathaniel. My time is ending. The collective built me to serve them. When their code breaks, so do I." "No," he said, shaking his head. "You can stay. We can rebuild you. Lyra smiled gently. You already have. I am part of the archive now. I will live in every mind that remembers the truth. Her body glowed brighter, the light rising like mist. Do not let them forget again. Nathaniel reached out, but his hand passed through the light. Lyra! She looked at him one last time. You opened the door. You remembered who you were. That is enough. With those words, her form dissolved into pure light, scattering into the air, merging with the data stream. The room was quiet again. Nathaniel stood slowly, staring at the place where she had been. The tablet on the console displayed a single message glowing softly. Watch before deleted. Human Archive, Entry Aura 1. He smiled through tired eyes. Entry 1, he whispered. That means there will be more. Days passed, the collective's ships never returned. Across human colonies, people began sharing visions, memories, and dreams that matched each other. They spoke of lost heroes, forgotten discoveries, and friendships that once united galaxies. Scientists couldn't explain it, but one truth became clear. Humanity had changed. Nathaniel became the quiet center of it all. He didn't claim credit, didn't tell anyone about Lyra. He just worked, helping others understand the new data, the new connections forming between minds. Humanity was no longer a scattered species. It was a network of memory and meaning. One evening, as he looked out over the lunar horizon, he saw something strange in the distance. A faint shimmer of light, like a figure watching from afar. For a moment, he thought it was Lyra. Maybe it was. Maybe it was just the reflection of the archive alive in the world she helped awaken. He smiled, feeling no fear this time, only peace. The stars above seemed closer, brighter, as if welcoming an equal. Humanity had reclaimed its story. Not as conquerors, not as victims, but as dreamers who refused to forget. And somewhere in the digital sky, a voice whispered softly through every network, every signal, every human thought. The door is open. The Saint D.